from the worldwide headquarters of EAS and Muscle Media Magazine, we're pleased to bring you this up-close and personal one-on-one interview with national sports talk show host Dan Palomino and our guest, Jeff Seidman.
Jeff Seidman, hometown San Francisco, California, 1997 physique transformation co-champion. Jeff gained 27 pounds of muscle in just 12 and a half weeks. He's 5'11", 184 pounds, and joins us today in Golden, Colorado to talk about his secrets to training, nutrition, and supplementation. Jeff, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Couple of changes. First, you don't look 184 anymore.
Well, now I'm sitting right around 200 pounds. I've stuck with the program that I did during the 12 and a half weeks, and it continues to work.
Also, you went from the West Coast to the East Coast, living in Orlando, Florida right now, huh?
That's correct. Living in Orlando. My girlfriend's actually a nurse there. Her contract ends at the end of August, and then we're moving down to South Beach, Miami. I'm going to attempt opening a personal training center down there.
Great. Let's go back to about a year and a half ago or so before you got into the contest. What was happening in San Francisco? What type of person was Jeff Seidman?
Well, basically, I was working at the Hotel St. Francis as a bellman, and I felt like I was kind of at a stagnant point in my life where I really wasn't accomplishing anything more than just being a bellman, and I wanted more, so I decided to actually go out and get a job as a personal trainer. But I got the job as a personal trainer, but I felt I was a horrible example because I was a skinny, weak person. I knew what to do from years of reading Muscle Media, but I was kind of a hypocrite. And just about that time, I saw the contest come out in Muscle Media, and I figured, well, here's a perfect excuse to get back in shape and hopefully win a Lamborghini and a little bit of cash.
You had been training, but you just weren't happy with the way you looked?
I had been training for years, and I never got anywhere near the results I got through this program. I had always tried all the newest supplements that came out, and I had tried everything from Cybergenics to Weeders products, and nothing ever seemed to work. I'd look in the mirror, and I couldn't tell if it was working or not. I'd have to wonder, gosh, is this product working or not? I never could tell. So I kind of lost faith in bodybuilding products. I always wanted to be a big bodybuilder. That was a dream of mine since I was a kid. But I got disappointed in all the products that were out there, and so I just trained sporadically because I wasn't able to achieve the physique that I had wanted.
All right, jump forward to today. What type of person is Jeff Seidman?
Well, I am much more confident in my physique. I'm very happy with my physique. I feel that basically I have achieved the physique that I had hoped to achieve. I always wanted to be about 190 pounds and in really good shape, but actually now I'm 200, and I believe I could actually get up to 210 or maybe even 215 and be in really good shape with the program that I'm doing.
Oh, mentally?
Mentally, I felt I was always strong mentally, but to actually complete this contest and win it was a big boost for me. I feel like through that, I'm much more confident in the other things that I do.
Well, a lot has happened in between, and it's that journey that we're interested in today, Jeff. And we want to know, really, if you had to sum it up, sum up the journey, what would you say?
Well, I'd say it definitely has been a life-changing experience for me. When I decided to do the contest, I was in it to win it. And basically, I wasn't going to let anything get in my way. I was working 40 hours a week as a bellman and another 20 hours a week as a personal trainer. And then I was also taking real estate classes about 10 hours a week, plus my homework, which is another few hours. So I was very busy, but I had decided that I was going to commit to this 100%, and I was going to train whatever time I had available, which was very little. And whether it was 7 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, I was going to train, and I wouldn't let anything get in my way of winning this. And I was extremely determined, and I had no doubt in my mind that I would win. And so actually when the time came for the winner to be announced, I expected it to be me. But then they actually called me and told me that I hadn't even placed in the top 50. I was in the top 200.
Right.
And so I actually was very depressed when they told me that. But the reason they told me that was so that when they did come and surprise me,
right,
I would be surprised. And so when they did come and surprise me, I already had the mindset that I had lost. I told my friends I lost. I told my family I lost, and I was kind of devastated. But when they surprised me, that's half the reason that I had the look on my face that I did in the movie Body of Work, because I was in shock. I couldn't believe that Bill Phillips was standing in front of me telling me that I'd won this thing. And it was hard for me to absorb that happening just because I thought I had lost, and that was an amazing feeling. I was like I said, I was in shock, and I'd say that shock lasted for about 2.5 days. Even at work, I was walking around in a daze going, I can't believe that I won. I can't believe it happened to me. Even though I knew I was in it to win it. You know, it was just an amazing feeling. And from that point on, Bill has treated myself as well as the other competitors extremely well. Everything we do is first class, top notch.
Yeah.
And he takes very good care of us, and he still cares about us. I mean, we correspond with him regularly.
What was the kick in the pants that got you in the contest? What was it? A morning you woke up and you said, "Okay, I've got to do something different. I've got to make a change," or maybe it wasn't that profound. Maybe it was something subtle that finally, made you say enough is enough.
Well, actually, I'd say for about 6 months or so, I kept on saying to myself, I got to get more serious with my workout. But I always made the excuse that I was too busy to do it, because I was working so much in school and everything. But what actually gave me the kick in the pants was I saw the muscle media issue with the Lamborghini on the front and read about the contest. And from the second that I read about it, I decided I'm going to win this thing. And that was all I needed. That's what brought me over the edge.
Yeah. So it was the prize.
Definitely the prize. I always admired Muscle Media and EAS, and I always thought it would be a dream to be involved with them. And so it was the prize, but it was also the dream of being involved with the company.
All right, now you had a little bit different experience than some of the others because you had trained before. You were a personal trainer. You knew what you were doing. So when you got the products, did you know how to take them? Because you certainly knew how to train. I mean, were you at all confused? Was it all overwhelming?
No, it was very simple. Mm-hmm. As I said, I'd been reading Muscle Media since its inception, about 5 years prior to me doing the contest. So actually it was very simple for me. And even taking the supplements, if I hadn't read it, just reading the label, it was simple to take the supplements according to what they stated on the labels.
Yeah. So it was a pretty easy program to follow.
Oh, it was easy to follow. It was hard for me to do just because my time was limited. But as far as taking the supplements, that was the easy part.
When was the first time you wanted to quit?
That never even entered my mind.
Never. That first week wasn't so brutal that you said, "Man, I don't know if I can do this."
No. From the day I started, I said, "I'm in this thing to win it."
Well, what kept you motivated?
The Lamborghini and being involved with the EAS. And plus, within 5 days of starting to train, I actually started to see results and feel results. I mean, it was incredible. I had never felt the strength or muscle growth that I had felt in that first week in my entire life from taking the products.
Did you have an initial goal? Was it a step-by-step process, or was win the Lamborghini and that was the goal?
Basically, that was the goal.
Really?
Yeah, win the Lamborghini, get involved with the EAS.
How about a support group? Did you have someone helping you?
Nope, I did it all on my own. Nobody helped me with anything.
Did you tell anyone you were in the contest?
Maybe 5 or 6 people, not very many.
Right.
I really didn't tell too many people at the gym because they usually were negative about it. They didn't believe the contest was real. They thought it was all fixed, and also they didn't believe that I actually could do it, go from being this skinny little guy to actually being one of these muscular guys that won the contest. So I got negative responses from people, so I just decided, okay, I'm just going to do it for myself and prove to everybody that I could do it.
Girlfriend help out at all, or no?
No.
Really?
No, I did it on my own.
Wow. Well, people enter contests all the time, but very few stick with it. You obviously stuck with it, and you look great today. But why do you think people constantly drop out?
I believe a lot of it has to do with getting improper information. I was lucky, as I said, I started reading Muscle Media years ago, so I had a lot of good information. But a lot of people get improper information, whether it be from trainers or just information from other magazines, I believe. You know, they don't know about proper nutrition, and they also don't know about the intensity that is needed to elicit a change in your physique.
And with the misinformation or not the proper information, they probably don't get the results they're looking for. And therefore, they say, well, all right, this isn't working, and then they drop out.
Exactly. And I also believe it has a lot to do with people getting incorrect information in the past. Because for years, there was a lot of incorrect information out there. They're saying high carbohydrate, low-fat diets was the answer to losing weight. But a lot of people had tried that and got discouraged and thought it was their fault when it really wasn't. It was the information they were getting was incorrect.
How about some of the tough issues you had to deal with during the challenge? You talked about your work schedule, and that was one, but what were some of the others?
Basically, that was it. It was just I had to put a lot of hours into work, and other than that, nothing was tough. The gym opened early and it stayed open late. I could go anytime, and the shakes definitely made it easy, because if I was in a rush, which it was the case most of the time, it took me only 2 or 3 minutes to make a shake, and I was very lucky. And my job as a bellman, they had a cafeteria, so I was able to go down frequently and eat.
Well, you mentioned early on that you started seeing success right off the bat as soon as you got onto the program. But how did you measure the success early in the challenge? I mean, how did you know you were on the right track and everything was going well?
Well, basically with me, I was trying to gain weight. So half of it was the scale. I used the scale, but the other half was just looking in the mirror. I could see my physique changing, and actually I could actually notice the weights I were lifting were much heavier.
And again, it was within the first week, you said?
Oh, within a week, my strength definitely went up.
Right.
And within a week, I'd say I gained 5 pounds in the first week.
And how long had you been training before you got involved with the contest in EAS?
I'd been training since I was 14 years old, so about 22 years.
All right, so a lot of work and not a lot of results.
Exactly.
Well, 12 weeks later, you have a new body, and you're checking yourself out in the mirror, and can you believe it? Do you have to pinch yourself?
I believed it because that's what I was working to achieve. I actually didn't think I'd gain as much muscle as I had, because I had never had gained so much muscle in the past, except for, as I mentioned in the movie Body Work, I did try steroids 12 years ago. And steroids worked for me, but I was worried about the health issues, and plus then they became illegal, because 12 years ago they weren't really enforcing the law on steroids, but I had taken them for about a year and a half, and towards the end of that year and a half they became very illegal. And also on steroids I still couldn't achieve the physique that I wanted, and on the drugs I stayed between 194 and 196 pounds. And now, today, naturally, I'm at 200, so my physique is even better than I was on steroids.
Well, then comes Bill Phillips. And if I get the story right, you're at a bachelor party?
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
When he comes to see you?
That's correct.
Tell me the story.
Well, as I said before, they had told me that I didn't even place in the top 50. And one of the representatives from EAS had called and said, even though you didn't place in the top 50, I'd like to come out there and do a little interview with you because your results were so good. I mean, maybe I could put a quote or two that you say into the magazine. I said, well, gosh, even though I didn't win and I really wanted to win, I'd just be happy to have a comment in the magazine because I love the magazine. I really admired Bill. And so he said, well, where are you going to be this evening at 10:30? I said, well, actually, I'm going to be at my buddy's bachelor party. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, would you mind if I came? And I said, no, not at all. He goes, well, I might bring a couple friends. I said, that's fine. Bring them along. So he ended up showing up 10:30 when he said he'd be there, and he came in, and I didn't really know what to say. I said, well, what type of questions did you want to ask? He goes, well, Jeff, you know what, let me introduce you to a couple of my friends here. He introduces me to, it turned out it was Bill's security. He introduced me to them, and then he said, Jeff, let's just watch the show a little bit first, and then we'll get to the questions. And I said, well, that sounds fine with me. So we're watching the strippers, and then all of a sudden he said, oh, wait a second, I have one more friend I want you to meet. Come here. So he brings me over to the front door. He opens the front door, and there's Bill standing there with Amy right behind him in the movie cameras, and I was in shock. I felt like a deer looks when he's caught in your headlights. You can't move.
Yeah, paralyzed.
Paralyzed, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So he tells you you're a finalist, you've got some money now, and that you're going to come out to EAS. And actually 10 of you are flown out to EAS for the finals. One of you will be EAS champ, or so you thought. But Bill decides to make a change. He makes all of you co-champs. All of you get the money and a new Corvette. Tell me about that night.
When I found out that I'd won the contest, and actually prior to that, the whole time I was doing the contest, I figured I'd win. So I had talked to my girlfriend many times about winning the Lamborghini and selling it and investing the money so someday we'd be millionaires. Right. And so we had constantly talked about what we were going to do with the money. So from the time he surprised me as the winner to the time we got out there, I said, I want the Lamborghini. I want the Lamborghini, and there's no two ways about it. But after meeting the guys and hanging out with them for the weekend, I was saying, God, these guys are great guys too. I'd hate to be the one that only won $10,000 when somebody else is winning a Lamborghini and $50,000. I said, I kind of felt I wanted us all to be winners. I wanted everybody to have a Lamborghini, or I just wanted us all to win. I thought they were such great guys. I didn't want to have any animosity between us, or I wanted us all to share equally in the exposure.
You didn't want to see anybody lose.
That's exactly right.
You know, because I guess when you got out there, you probably realized that they had made tremendous sacrifices and tremendous gains as well.
Right, and they had exactly the type of mindset that I had. I mean, so I couldn't say that one of us really did anything better than the other. Everybody was equally able to win.
But you still had a dream come true, right? When you got the vet and you got the money and all were 10 co-champions?
Well, in actuality, a Corvette had always been my dream car since I was a kid. So it was a dream come true. Basically, the dream come true was just winning my category. That was a dream come true for me.
Well, you said your dream was always to have a Corvette. Now you have one. What's that like to cruise around town in the vet?
Well, actually, it's even better than I had expected, because I initially had contemplating selling the vet, but after driving it, I said, "There's no way I can sell this thing." And initially, I'd also planned on just driving it on special occasions, maybe Sundays, but I drive the thing every day.
Really?
It's an everyday car now.
Great. Well, besides the Corvette, besides the money, how has your life changed?
Well, I'm pretty much a celebrity now. Over 1 million people have seen the movie. I get recognized whether I'm at a restaurant, a bookstore, a gym. Just walking down the street, I get recognized. It's an awesome feeling.
Once upon a time, you would open up Muscle Media, and you probably saw some guys in there that you said, "Well, I'd like to look like him," or "I'd like to be that big." And now people are opening up Muscle Media. They're seeing you, and they're saying, "I'd like to look at that guy. I'd like to be that big." Does that feel good?
Oh, definitely. I love, one thing I love about being in the position I'm in, and a lot of it has to do with the movie body of work, is that I find that when the people approach me, I inspire them and I motivate them, and that's something that I had always hoped to do. I figured, well, someday in the future I'm going to be successful enough to where I could hopefully go out and help motivate people and inspire people to change their life for the better, and this has done it 10 times or maybe even 100 times more than I ever had hoped I could do it.
And every time somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, aren't you that guy from the magazine or the movie?" does it surprise you every time?
No.
No?
Not anymore, because it happens very frequently.
Really?
So, yeah, it happens very frequently. But it definitely makes me feel good. And the funny thing is, they kind of look at me the way I looked at Bill when he first walked in the door. They're really like, "Oh, my God, this is the guy from the movie." And I'm like, I feel like, God, I'm just an average guy, you know. And basically anybody could be in my shoes if they had the determination and the... the determination to do the contest.
Do they stop you in the produce aisle at the grocery store?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I went down to South Beach recently in Miami, where my girlfriend and I plan on moving, and they were stopping us in the restaurants, just walking down the street, and even when we were walking down the street, people were yelling out their cars, "Jeff Seidman!" You know,
really,
we were recognized everywhere down there. It was fun.
How about at the gym? You're to do gym now. Do people say, "Hey, Jeff, can you help me out with my shoulders today? Can you give me some tips on a new ab routine?"
Oh, they definitely ask me for advice, and I'm more than happy to give it. The only problem I find I have now in the gym is I end up spending about twice as long as I used to, because I end up talking half the time.
Right.
But I love doing it, and there's no real secret to gaining the muscle mass that I gained. It's just basically clean up your diet and the proper nutrition, the proper supplements, and train like an animal.
Do you feel a certain amount of responsibility, or is there pressure? Is that a word to use, being an EAS champ?
No, there's no pressure at all.
Really?
I enjoy every second of it, and I think it's the best thing that ever happened in my life.
Because there are a lot of people out there who look up to you and are depending upon you to give them the right advice. That's why I say pressure. Responsibility, is that a good word?
It's not pressure, and the responsibility is something I always wanted. I had always, as I said, hoped to be somebody that could motivate and inspire others, and this, I actually don't have to go out there and seek them. They're seeking me, and I love giving the advice. I just love being in the position that I'm in.
All right, you've climbed the hill. You're the champ. You're exactly where you want to be. Now, how do you stay motivated? How do you avoid complacency?
Part of it is once I realized I could attain the body that I'd always dreamed of attaining, actually I've surpassed that. That is a huge amount of motivation. And also I want to be a good example to all these people that are doing the contest. And I'm sure I'll be in shape for the rest of my life. I'm going to train for the rest of my life.
If you had to target 3 important factors in making this change, what would you say are the 3 most important factors?
The 3 most important factors, as I said before, is One is diet. As I said earlier, most people don't get the proper information about diet. They put 100% into it, but the information they get is incorrect. I'd say number one is diet. And then number two, for actually achieving a super physique, something that's beyond what you could actually achieve on your own, is definitely EAS supplements. I mean, that I could never achieve the physique that I have now without EAS supplements. And then third is train very hard and get someone that can give you the proper information about training also.
You know, some people will describe it as, man, it was like blood, sweat, and tears. It was tough. It was taxing. It was, how would you describe it?
Basically, the training for me was that way. It was, I trained very aggressively, and but I was in a different position than most of the others. I was a skinny kid trying to gain muscle. I had no problem being lean. I had to gain muscle, and for me to gain muscle, I really had to train like an animal.
There are skeptics out there, and Jeff, I'm sure you've heard them, who have said, you can't look that way in 12 weeks. You know, I mean, you might be able to, but 12 weeks, that's you can't change that much in 12 weeks.
There are a lot of skeptics out there. I get fan mail, some of it saying the same thing. But those are the people that basically are giving out the wrong kind of information. They're giving the wrong information, and that's why they never see those kind of results, because the people that they're training or the people that they give the advice to don't get those results. It's all a matter of getting the right information.
Have you had people say to you, this contest or this challenge just sounds too good to be true? It can't be for real.
I've had some people say they thought that until they met me. Once they met me, they realized, gosh, this thing's for real. And I tell everybody they can achieve the same thing, because all 10 of us, we're just average people. And actually, I'd say in my case, my genetics are less than average. I have more of a runner's physique. Not one that someone would expect to be a bodybuilder. And now even bodybuilders admire my physique.
How about the cynic, the people out there that say, well, this physique transformation, if you're going to do it, you're going to need a lot of money. You'll need a personal trainer. You'll need a nutritionist. You'll need about 2 hours a day and 6 days a week.
Well, I had basically none of that. Yeah. I trained all by myself. I didn't have a partner. And but you do need proper information. And as I said, the reason I hadn't been getting results prior was because I was getting my information from the wrong sources. And once I started reading muscle media, I started to find out why. It took me a while to actually apply it. It was the contest that made me decide, okay, well, here's some motivation to get in shape, and I'm going to apply the information they gave me. And once I applied it, my results were even greater than I expected. And I'd say just the number one thing is people getting the wrong information. I mean, it's hard to do without the proper information.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about the nuts and bolts, the how-tos. What was your training program like? And pretend like I know nothing about working out. I mean, take me through your week.
Basically, I would try and work 3 days on, 1 day off. Sometimes if I felt a little bit fatigued, I'd go 2 days on and 1 day off. Or if I felt good, I'd go 4 days on, 1 day off. But I would always start with chest and back. That would be day 1. Day 2 would be legs. And day 3 would be shoulders and arms. And so it would take me 3 days to work the entire body.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you spend in the gym?
I spent a little bit more time than most people would, or is even suggested. For me, I bordered on overtraining. I would spend an average of about an hour and 45 minutes in the gym.
And did you find you had to cut that back later on, or was that pretty much the norm?
No, I still do it.
Really?
I still do it.
Because, of course, you're doing 2 body parts.
That's correct.
And a lot of people just do 1.
That's correct.
Well, let's take chest and back, for instance. Take me through a typical chest and back workout.
Well, on my chest and back day, I would always start with my chest first, because after I would do my back, I would be exhausted and I couldn't do anymore. So I'd start with my chest. I'd go in there. I'd do a couple sets, light sets on the bench press, and then I'd do 4 medium, and then building up to heavy sets on the bench press. I'd move from the bench press to the incline dumbbell press, and I'd do 4 heavy sets on the incline dumbbell press, and then I'd go next to the pec deck or the dumbbell flies, and that would be my chest routine.
Okay. Now, when you say heavy, how many reps?
I would never go below 6 reps, just because my joints bothered me from years ago when I was on steroids. I think I abused my joints, and so I never went below 6. I'd always stay between 6 and 12 reps. I never went high reps either. I'd always stayed between 6 and 12.
So how many reps were you doing per set?
I was sticking between 6 and 12 repetitions per set, and I would do 12 sets for my chest.
You've reached the end of side 1. Please turn the tape over for more of this interview.
Okay, so recapping for your chest, 3 exercises,
That's correct.
about 4 sets apiece,
That's correct.
somewhere between 6 and 12 reps.
That's correct.
Okay, how about your back?
My back, I would always start with pull-ups.
Okay.
And I'd change my pull-up grip all the time. Sometimes I'd go wide, sometimes I'd go narrow, but I would always start with pull-ups just because they're a very hard exercise to do, and I believe they produce the best results.
Mm-hmm.
So I would start with pull-ups, and I'd go to seated rows, which I'd always go very heavy on. I'd usually go between 8 and 10 reps on the seated rows, and then I'd usually go to either a lat pull down or a one-arm row. It varied, but I would always end my back routine with deadlifts, and I'd go fairly heavy on those. I'd usually stay between 8 and 12 reps on the deadlifts. My back routine usually consisted of about 16 sets, which is, in most cases, I'd say overtraining, but for me,
Right.
it seemed to produce the best results.
Now, how about like the smaller muscles, like your biceps and so forth, your triceps? How many exercises and how many sets would you do there?
My biceps, I wouldn't do too many sets. I'd usually do between 4 and 6 sets for my biceps because I felt they were trained plenty from doing my back. And also they're such a small muscle that I didn't want to overtrain them. And my triceps, I usually do about 8 sets since the triceps constitute about 70% of your arm.
Yeah.
I wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on the triceps and do a couple more sets.
How about water in the gym? Do you drink a lot?
That's not just in the gym. I drank water all the time. I never drank juice or sodas. I made sure that I did the routine 100%. I wanted to keep my system working as efficiently as possible, so I consumed as much water as I could.
How about aerobics? Or what type of aerobic activity did you do?
Well, I actually didn't do aerobics as an exercise, but with my job as a bellman, I was constantly walking. So I'd say for 6 or 7 hours of my shift, I was on my feet carrying luggage, walking up and down the halls, and getting plenty of aerobic activity. So I didn't really include it in my program.
Even when you decided to really cut up, but then again, you said you were pretty lean.
Yeah, I was lean all the time, and the only thing I really did to really cut up was I just cut back on my carbs a little more.
Okay. And then how about sleep? How much were you getting a night?
I averaged, I'd say, about 5.5 hours of sleep a night. Sleep, I know is important, but for me, there was some things that were different for me. Like I said, I could train a little bit longer, and I needed a little bit less sleep.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe sleep is important.
And we're talking all free weights, or did you use any machines?
Whenever possible, if the exercise could be done with free weights, I'd use free weights.
Yeah.
But some exercises can't be done with free weights, so I'd use a machine. But I always use free weights just because they train more than just the chest muscle. They train the stabilizers also.
And no training partner?
No training partner.
You just pushed yourself?
That's correct. I'd push myself until I would about drop on the ground.
How are your workouts different now, if they are at all?
They're not really different. I still go by the way I feel. I train sometimes 2 days on, 1 day off, or 4 days on, 1 day off. I just train by the way I feel. If my body feels like I'm starting to border on overtraining, I'll take a day off and let my body rest, come back fresh the next day.
What's an average day like for you now? Are you still working like a madman?
Well, right now we moved to Florida because my girlfriend and I had purchased some homes out there a few years ago, and we moved there to take over management of them. And so right now for work, we just bought a house for me to fix up and resell. And so I'm out there, I'd say still 12 hours a day I'm out there working, still working my butt off, I'd say.
I guess so, yeah. 12 hours a day constitutes working your butt off. All right, take me through the next workout, which is your leg day.
I'd start legs always with squats because they were the toughest exercise for me to do. I like to do the toughest exercises first. And I'd do a couple warm-up sets. I'd just do one with the bar, next set with 135, next set 225. But then I'd throw 320 on there. I'd do 4 sets with 320 to 340 pounds, 8 to 12 reps, depending on how I felt that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then next I would move to the leg press. I'd throw as much weight as I could handle on there, and I couldn't even tell you what that was. It was a few plates, and I'd usually do 4 sets of 8 to 12 there, and from there I'd move to the hack squat, and I'd do 4 sets of 8 to 12 on the hack squat. And I never did leg extensions or leg curls. I felt after I had done those 12 sets, I couldn't even bend my legs anymore, so I wasn't able to really get anything out of those.
12 sets will be plenty, I'm sure. How about moving on to your third day of workouts, which is shoulders and arms? Let's start with shoulders.
I'd always start with shoulders, and I'd go in there. I'd either do a dumbbell military press, or I'd just do the Smith military press in front of my head, and I'd do a couple warm-up sets again there, and then I'd do 4 fairly heavy sets. I'd usually stay between 8 and 12 reps there, and then I'd go from there to sometimes an upright row, or if I had started with the military press with the barbell, I'd go to the dumbbell. Sometimes if I started with the dumbbells, I'd go to the barbells, and I just really wanted to fatigue my shoulders. And then from that exercise, I would go to lateral raises, and then from that exercise, I would go to the rear delts. And so I'd usually do 5 exercises for my shoulders.
3 to 4 sets?
That's correct. I did a lot for my shoulders.
And then how about the arms?
Arms, usually I'd start with biceps to give my triceps a little bit of rest after doing the shoulders. And biceps, I wouldn't do too many sets. I'd usually do 1 to 2 exercises. Sometimes I'd just do barbell curls. Sometimes I'd just do 4 sets of those. And then sometimes I'd do 3 sets of barbell curls and 3 sets of dumbbell curls. But I would rarely go beyond 6 sets just because my biceps are being trained doing my back. And the biceps are such a small muscle, I don't really believe they require too much stimulation, and they're my best body part, so apparently that works. And then next I'd move to my triceps, and triceps, they take up about 70% of your arm, so I'd actually do about 8 sets on my triceps, and I'd go fairly heavy on those. I'd usually do I'd start with push downs or bar dips. I actually varied my tricep routine frequently, but I'd usually stick to the same basic exercises: bar dips, push downs, and French curls, where you're laying on the bench and doing the extensions. I usually do those 3 exercises, but vary them.
So how many sets is that?
It'd usually be 8 sets, but sometimes if I was feeling really motivated or aggressive, I'd do 12 sets. But usually right around 8.
And free weights most of the time?
Anytime I could find an exercise I could do with free weights, I'd do free weights.
No training partner?
No training partner.
Water? How much water did you drink during the day?
That was the only beverage I consumed. I wanted to make water basically cleanses your system, keeps it working efficiently, and I would drink water at every opportunity I could.
Sleep?
Sleep wasn't something that I got a lot of. I slept, I'd say, I averaged about 5 hours a night, but for me, sleep wasn't a big issue with me. In most cases, even I tell people they should get 8 hours of sleep a night to recuperate. But for me, it wasn't as important to get 8 hours. 5 hours seemed to work.
Workout's pretty much the same basic exercises, maybe you vary it up a little bit?
Basically, it's the same thing. I just go by how I feel. If I feel like, as I said, I feel like I need a day off somewhere in between there, I'll take a day off. But basically, it's the same routine.
Okay. And what's an average day like for you? Are you still working 70 hours a week?
Not quite 70 hours a week, but I'd say I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm remodeling a house right now, and doing it to resell it and make some money. So I would like to get that done as soon as possible, make as much money as I can, and move on down to Miami and open my personal training center.
All right, Jeff, let's get into the nutrition part of the program, because a lot of people want to know what you ate, what supplements you took, and so forth. And let's start off with what you ate, and tell me about some of your meals and how frequently you were eating.
My program, as far as diet went, was very simple. I consumed 3 shakes a day, and then towards the end of the contest, I started waking up in the middle of the night and drinking a shake, and I believe that helped me past a plateau in my program. But my diet was very simple. I basically consumed just plain canned tuna, a lot of non-fat cottage cheese. I'd eat some rice and chicken breasts and top round steak, and I wouldn't say I ate much more than that. And
really?
The top round steak, I'd just go to the butcher and order a bunch of it, have him cut the fat off the exterior and put it in the meat grinder and turn it into hamburger, so it was very easy to cook.
So you were eating every 2 to 3 hours a day?
That's correct.
Now, we're talking food. You were eating every 2 to 3 hours?
That's correct.
Okay. And it sounds like you didn't have too much on the carbohydrate end.
That's correct. My carbohydrates were fairly low.
Okay, so as far as protein goes, you were eating the chicken, the lean meat, tuna, and fish, other than tuna?
Cottage cheese also, non-fat cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of my protein from milk products such as cottage cheese and milk. I drank milk also. But my routine was very simple, only because I had very limited time. I couldn't have a complex diet, and nobody helped me. My girlfriend didn't help me. My mom, nobody helped me. So I had to make mine very simple.
Couldn't set up a little hibachi outside the St. Francis or anything?
Well, see, that was another thing that made it easy, was they had a cafeteria downstairs, and fortunately it was free. But they got tired of seeing me every 2 hours. They'd have to restock the tuna all the time, because that's all I ate, basically,
right.
Tuna.
Well, how did you plan your meals, now that you talk about it, since you didn't have a lot of time? Did you do them the night before? Did you do them a week ahead of time? How did you set that up?
As I said, they had a cafeteria where I worked, so I really didn't have to plan those meals during the day. I would just have to maybe bring 1 or 2 meals with me to my personal training job, so it really didn't take much time to do that. And as I said, my diet was very simple. It was easy to open a can of tuna or bring a couple hamburger patties with me and eat those. It was a very simple diet.
Where'd you find time to eat between the taxi cabs?
Well, actually, we were allowed to take breaks whenever we wanted.
Oh,
it was
okay.
just dependent on how much. If you were very aggressive and wanted to make a lot of money, you'd stay upstairs and make as much money as you could. But to me, winning this contest was more important. So every 2 hours, I'd go downstairs and eat.
One thing I want to ask you is, how many calories were you taking in per meal?
I would take in approximately 300 to 500 calories per meal, just enough to get me by for 2 to 3 hours and come down and refuel myself again.
All right, let's talk about supplementation. What were some of the supplements you took?
Well, initially I started with the Myoplex Plus and the Phosphagen HP, and as I progressed in the program, I started to add more supplements. And I'd say about the 7th or 8th week, I added Phosphagen 2, and which actually seemed to bump me over a plateau. That really worked well for me. But I took GKG, HMB. I took quite a few of their supplements.
Now, let's talk about, in any particular order, how did you set up your supplement program throughout the day?
Well, I relied on the shakes quite a bit. I would have a shake first thing in the morning when I wake up, along with my supplements, which would only take me maybe 5 minutes at the most, which was great for me because I was always in a hurry when I woke up. Mm-hmm. So I'd make a shake, I'd take my supplements, I'd head off to work, and then I would make another shake and take my supplements prior to my workout. And then after my workout, I'd come home again, have another shake, and take my supplements again. It was a pretty simple routine.
Okay, when you say take your supplements, what are those?
I was taking the HMB, the GKG, and the Phosphagen HP.
Okay. And it seemed to work well for you, that combination?
It worked dynamite, better than I expected.
Has your supplement program changed now that, you've gained all the weight and you're probably the size you want to be?
It's changed a little bit. The supplements I take now are a little bit simpler, now more so than before. I just take the Myoplex Plus Deluxe, the Phosphagen HP, and the Betagen, and I do basically the Super Shake, and very simple to do.
And those are the 3 that you stick with?
Yeah, I get great results from it.
Mix it all up in a blender?
Exactly, and I'm still growing.
Okay. If you were going to recommend just one supplement to somebody, because that's all they wanted to take or could afford or whatever, what would you say?
It would be a toss-up for me between the Phosphagen HP and the Myoplex Plus Deluxe. I think those 2 products are great products, and I couldn't say one is better than the other.
You stated before that you thought you probably could not have achieved these results without the supplements.
Oh, I know I couldn't, because I had done the exact same training routine for years, and my weight always plateaued about 172, 174 pounds, and I was doing the exact same routine. The only thing I added this time was the supplements, and now at the time I finished the contest, I was 184. Now I'm up at 200, and I'm not doing anything different than I was before, except for adding the EAS supplements.
If you had to do it again, would you? And would you change anything, or pretty much keep it the same?
I would definitely do it again. My life right now is better than it's ever been, and no, I would keep everything pretty much the same. I'm basically doing the same thing now as I was then when I was doing the contest.
Yeah. Did you have a cheat day or a cheat meal?
I wasn't as strict with my diet as the guys who were losing weight, but I'd say 99% of the time I was eating high quality, nutrient rich foods.
So you didn't have a craving? You didn't have to go out and get a pizza sometime or anything like that?
No, once I decided to do the contest and I was in it to win it, as I said before, I do anything to win. And actually, my diet has always been pretty simple. It's not tough for me to eat healthy foods. It's actually less expensive than eating the junk food.
How fun was this?
Well, the fun part was when my physique changed. Everybody was just amazed at how quickly my physique was changing, and everybody was coming to me and asking me for advice, whereas before, if somebody saw me in the gym, they'd never even think twice to ask me for advice.
Right. And that's one of the hidden rewards to this, because on the surface, people see the money, the car, the fact that you're a spokesperson, a little bit of a celebrity, but there are hidden rewards.
Oh, definitely. As I said, it's improved every area of my life. I can't say there's been anything negative that has come about from this.
Confidence, what would you say? Confidence, self-esteem, it's made you a better, business person, it's made you a better what?
Well, I'd say all of that. Actually, my confidence has been building for the past 14 years. Every year it gets better, but this was definitely a huge boost to that.
Yeah. All right, what do you say to someone who comes up to you and says, Jeff, show me the way. I need some answers.
Basically, I'll ask them what they're doing and find out what they're doing and see if there's room for any improvement there, and there usually is. As I said, information is a huge help in achieving these goals, and most people have the improper information, and so I go from there. I have them tell me what they're doing, and I'll give them advice from there.
How about your goals for the future? Because obviously this is now a permanent part of your lifestyle.
Well, I think in the future, Bill's going to have to worry because I'm going to get so big. I might take over EAS. No, I'm only kidding. Bill.
You talked about a little bit about the gym and so forth.
That's correct. My girlfriend and I are moving down to South Beach, Miami, beginning of September, and I'm going to set up a personal training center down there, and I believe 100% it's going to be successful.
What would long-term success mean then?
Long-term success would mean me actually expanding and opening up more of these personal training centers in other areas, and eventually I'm working myself a little bit more into the fitness industry. I think the potential's unlimited, actually.
Obviously, it's been a major lifestyle change, and with that lifestyle change, has there been a new philosophy about life?
The only thing I could say is everybody has an equal opportunity to better themselves, and I took advantage of that, and I proved that it can be done because I didn't come from the best upbringing, and I'm a perfect example that you can change your life and make it better.
You didn't have a lot as a kid?
No, that a lot. We grew up on welfare. There was 4 of us kids with a single mom, and we didn't have much at all.
And now you're determined to have a better life.
Oh, I learned from that, actually. I don't want to be like that, and I don't want my family to be like that, and I want to be able to help everybody in my family have everything that they dream of having, and I also want to have everything I dream of having, and I believe winning this contest is a big step in the right direction to help me with that.
If someone asks you, I'm getting ready to start this journey, is it worth it?
As I said before, in my life, nothing has ever happened anywhere near this good. This has been the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
What about people out there listening who think they can't tackle a challenge of this magnitude? It's just too big of a project. They can't do it.
Well, I'd say from my own experience, myself and the other 9 competitors, as I got to know them, I realized, gosh, they're just average guys just like me. None of them had perfect lives. I didn't have a perfect life. They didn't have perfect lives. And it made me realize anybody could do this. Anybody could win this contest. Anybody could get these dramatic physique changes as long as they dedicate themselves to it.
How about the person who's halfway through and maybe struggling a little bit, and they don't think they can finish or complete the journey?
I would, again, just say anybody can do it. You just have to find something that will motivate you, find something that will give you the drive to make it all the way through, and hopefully we're providing that.
How about the best advice you received during the whole challenge, and can you pass it on to those listening?
As I said before, when I started to win it, and I already had the knowledge I needed from the years of reading muscle media, And the Lamborghini was the motivation. So I basically had all the tools I needed.
You must have received a nice compliment somewhere along the line.
Oh, I definitely received compliments. I was always receiving compliments, and I'd receive them in the gym, but usually it was from the female persuasion. I'd go out with my girlfriend. Even when I was with her, women would approach me and try and steal me away.
Wow. Okay, we'll leave that one alone. Is there anything that we've missed that you can share with people and let them think about for a while as they decide maybe how to change their lives or to change their program?
Well, basically, I'd say anybody can do this. We're all 10 of us are perfect examples of that. None of us had a great physique. Just need the proper information. You need to get the knowledge, and you need to really just decide. You need to decide in your heart and in your head that you're going to make a change and stick to it. And if you stick to it, you'll definitely get the results.
Jeff, you've talked an awful lot about information and how important it is to have the proper information. Let's again go over some of the sources that you used to get the proper information.
Well, as I said, I was lucky enough to read the magazine since its inception about 6 years ago. So I've got 6 years of reading articles out of the magazine. But for most people, that really isn't possible for them to do. And I'd say, basically, to sum it all up, all they have to do is call EAS or Muscle Media, ask for the sports supplement review, because they have an article in there on training and nutrition, and you get all the information you need just from that article to achieve the results that we did.
For those who don't know, what is the sports supplement review?
They talk about supplements out there that are good and bad, which ones are the best ones to take, and then they also give you advice on training and nutrition, and just help. It's a huge help, and the great thing about it is it's free.
You know, a lot of people also train by trial and error. They go into the gym and they see somebody doing something, or they talk to whoever on how to do their back, and that's where some misinformation and a lot of information that contradicts itself comes into play.
As I said, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that's why you see a lot of people who have the dedication to do it, but they don't have the physiques that show it, because they didn't get the proper information. You need to have the proper information to really get the best results. And as I said, the sports supplement review will give you all the information you need to achieve that.
Yeah, and another good way, some people don't like to read a lot, but pick up the body of work.
Oh, that's correct. Body of work will definitely give you the inspiration, but the knowledge on training and diet is in supplement review.
Okay. Now, do you find yourself giving out copies of Body of Work or Muscle Media or things like that to people who are just getting started?
Oh, definitely. I give out Body of Work is what I give. I give that to a lot of people who maybe talk about they'd like to start training, or someday they'll start training, and it always happens to me. When the next time I see them, they're in the gym training, because the tape is a huge motivational tool, and you need motivation to go out there and do the contest.
All right, Jeff, it's a great story. Thanks for being with us. You're looking great. It was fun talking to you, and hopefully you can be an inspiration to an awful lot of other people.
Well, thank you very much. And as I said before, anybody could do it, and the best thing in the world is to win this contest and be associated with EAS Muscle Media and the Physique Transformation Contest.
Jeff, again, thanks for being with us. Remember, listeners, if you want to get big, Jeff is the guy to talk to. And remember what Jeff says, don't count on finding time, make time. And to be successful, you have to stop making excuses. Now is the time to take action.
On behalf of the entire EAS team and staff of Muscle Media Magazine, thank you for listening. And remember, our goal is to help you achieve your goals. If we can help you in any way, give us a call at 1-800-297-9776 or visit the EAS website at www.eas.com. Jeff Seidman achieved extraordinary results during EAS's 1997 Physique Transformation Challenge from his unique program of training, nutrition, and supplementation. Because individuals differ, their results will differ, even using the same training, nutrition, and supplementation programs. Before commencing any program of exercise, nutrition, or supplementation, consult with your doctor, particularly if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, chronically ill, elderly, or under the age of 18, or if you're taking any prescription or other medications.